am Lynn with Real and Raw, and you are?
I'm Brian, and day number 4, no taking advantage of business day.
That's right. I love it. I love it. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing okay. Past couple of days haven't been easy. As you know, Lynn, we talk backstage. But I got some good coaching, and it's amazing about how perceptions and meaning that we have, and then you are not around people because of what's been going on in the world, and you find yourself in a place of being alone or whatever, and it wasn't intended to be that way, right? And I got some coaching from a dear friend, and all of that went away. So it's I've just been, ever since my refresh day for the conference ended on let's see here, today's Thursday, ended on Tuesday, and yesterday was a refresh day for a mastermind that I'm a part of, and
Nice.
just to have I really can't explain it except for, man, when you have anything that's on your brain or whatever just go away, it's something to revel in, or it's not something to revel in, but it's something to just be present of and thankful for.
Yeah. Oh, anything we talked about help any?
Yeah. I mean, all of it together, but I was down in the dumps, and it was bad,
Yeah.
debilitating. But after a conversation, and I shed some tears, and my heart was just out there, in the open. I wouldn't have it any other way, so I'm just coming down off of that because it felt so good to share what I had to share, and to have it be heard and respected and connected. Right?
Acknowledged too.
So,
Hi, Scott. Scott.
So yeah, welcome everybody, all of our loyal listeners, and anybody catching the replay. I was at a mastermind day yesterday, so it made it a little difficult to do our show. So we just had a rewind episode, if you will. So
I bet that rewind with Chris Roush. That's Christopher. Yeah, Christopher. I mean, that's a good replay. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, we have some great replays. Which I'm excited. Tomorrow we're going to have Cheryl Eisenhower, Barry's better half. So that's going to be exciting tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, we're going to have to as many words as we can get, or phrases for tomorrow. Cheryl always says, "Be ready," and I'm not scared. Like I don't know what she means by that, because I haven't talked to her in that degree, but I don't know what that means. Like, be ready. It's like, hey,
we are ready. We're ready.
My life is open. There is no skeletons here. So
yeah. Hi, Ray.
Hey, Ray.
So yeah, I like the fact that you were kind of like in a business setting this last couple of days. So, you probably this is fresh on your mind as far as, feeling the relationship capital, or with, taking advantage of, with being around business partners or business, or colleagues of a sort. And so, I'm sure that you have some things that you can share as far as that feeling goes.
Yep. It's, when you get to, there's always going to be a demand. There's always going to be a place to go for people that want more. And I think that because of the health crisis that we've had, the emergence of masterminds and private groups and specific coaching and tribes, I think it's been really been magnified or compounded just because of people that want to go further, right? There's always going to be free information out there, but people that are really committed to going further, there's always going to be more for them. But I also think that not only does that come at a cost of time, but money and effort and commitment. I don't think that that's something that should be given away for people that find a loophole, right? I'm not saying that they're bad people. It's just that when they find the easy way to do it without paying the money, I'm not a big fan of that, right? Where you don't have relationships with people, and all of a sudden they want to tap your brain and be nice to you and all of that just to get something. And it's like, well, pay the money and do it yourself. You know what I mean? And they don't want to hear that, because that's exactly why they're going around it. But the problem is that it's like, okay, what else are you not willing to invest in?
Right.
What else are you not willing to give it your all in? And if you're not willing to pay the price, and most people, when I say price, they think of money, and it's everything but that. Because everything else but that justifies the price.
Right.
You know, like who that person is. You already know what work you're going to do, how hard you're going to try. You're going to immerse yourself in it, right? Because it, you know, let's just be honest. Anybody in business knows that it's like if you give something for free, people don't, you know, people may like it, but they're not gonna, you know, they're not going to appreciate it as much if they have to pay for it.
Right. And when they're paying for it, if they're getting knowledge that's invaluable to them, it's actually, you know, priceless, especially, you know, especially if you get more than what you pay for, you know, in return, you know, return on investment.
Well,
So,
and one of the things that I love to talk about, and it's like having it be internalized, it's not your time, right? That you get paid for. It's the value you bring to the time, right? I mean, like somebody, one of our mentors or anybody, it's like they've been through the trenches for so long that they hold the answers, right? Now, obviously, it's a point of view, so you're probably not going to want to go to somebody that you don't respect their point of view, right?
right.
So of somebody that you respect their point of view, they can answer it just like that, because it's just like I can't remember what famous painting or famous artist, you know, when he was painting, and all of a sudden this girl comes up to him and says, "Hey, can you paint something for me?" And it took him like 5 or 10 minutes, and she goes, "That was beautiful." And I think it might have been Picasso, and he said, "That'll be $50,000." And she goes, $50,000? It only took you 15 minutes. And he goes,
Yeah.
it's not the time, it's the value, it's the 50 years that I've been painting that allowed me to paint it in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So the value you bring to those moments, regardless of what it is, because there's an outcome to everything. And whatever that outcome is, it's like, is that outcome worth it to you? Where for me, it was like to have the clarity to have all this baggage and negativity go away, right? But it's like people that give away their time. It's like, okay, a little bit maybe, but like even like you, Lynn, in your coaching, right?
Yeah.
You know, when it's just like, hey, I've given you enough. There's a reason why you came back to me, you know, because you see the value in it. Now there's going to be a payment that you have to,
Right.
you
I
know.
want to acknowledge a couple of people that showed
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Hey,
Shannon,
Shannon.
hi,
Hey, Shannon.
and Dennis.
Dennis is here. Hey.
Yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, no, exactly. Especially when people are showing you value before you pay them. There's that point of saying, "Look, I gave you a little bit. Now that's it." You know, the courtesy, or the, you know, over delivering before remittance of payment. And I love the fact that when people realize, well, shit, I'm not getting that free advice, I'm not going to go there. Well, have fun. I hope it works for you. When you're stuck again, you come back. I think you're gonna pay double for that one.
Well, and that's a total cop out, because it's like, well, they wouldn't be coming back if the information or the coaching wasn't any good.
Right.
They wouldn't be coming back in the first place.
But some people, they just like, well, I don't want to pay for that. Well, it's just like, I'll give a good example. Paying it forward. Hi, Jerry. Example. It's just like
Jerry.
my kids when they were younger and they had money, and they're at the store, and I'm like, you want this? They're like, are you buying it? No.
Right.
I don't want it then. You know, it's the same difference of saying they want it. They don't want it if they have to pay for it.
Correct.
Yet they think it was a good idea. So, you know, it really is. And Jerry, by the way, I did get your book in the mail yesterday. So,
hey,
yeah.
Jerry, by the way, I'm still waiting for you to let me know when you're arriving in Milwaukee next week. I sent you a private message, and I just want to know that, so we can hook up if you'll be around. So if you want to message me back, that'd be great. So Shannon says, "Oh man, I've gotten away a lot of time in the past. I have finally figured out and know I am worth more, and my sanity is way more priority." Yeah, I mean, in my improv class last night.
Oh, how was that?
It's a different improv class. It's the first time they did it, but it's all about creativity. Okay. Now, obviously, you have to set a foundation of creativity, and then we do improv. So, but our instructor said, and he references several books, but he said, he goes, the number one creativity killer is interruptions. And so, for the work that you're doing, if people are interrupting you with requests for your time, don't get me wrong, you got to pay it forward, but it's like, if it goes deeper, if they want more, right, you start to see a pattern, that what you have to offer will help them. Well, eventually they have to make a choice and be willing to jump, just like us writing our books, right? Are we going to talk about it, or are we just going to jump and not talk about it again until they're done? So I'm so glad that I've been nurtured and trained by the people that I have, because paying somebody money for a specific skill that they possess is only a part of it, right? They honed that skill for who knows how many years, right? And it's just like, well, you can be a jack of all trades, but I don't want to do that. My time is worth more in my zone of genius than if I want to write a book. I'm going to reach out to people that know how to write books, like Jerry, right? Yeah. Cheryl. Why would I want to reinvent the wheel for something that doesn't need to be that way?
Right. Absolutely. I get that. So I'm glad you started your class. And so, again, we're talking about in the business setting, when you're doing business and referring someone all the time, and yet when you go talk to them and say, hey, you ask them questions about their business and you can help them market or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's funny how they're not open to actually just even look at what you have that can help them. And yet people don't understand, well, how are they going to pay for your service if people aren't supporting their service?
Right. Yeah, I know the givers and receivers and all that, but eventually it's just like, okay, you're just like Dr. Covey said, like deposits and withdrawals, right? It's like the more you invest in other people, it's like it's great, but eventually that reservoir might come empty, right? If there's more taking than there is giving. So you only ask day, not time. Yeah, I did. I sent you that. I asked you specifically what time in the message, Jerry. So maybe you missed that, but yeah, I said, when are you going to be in Milwaukee? So anyhow, yes, we'll clear that up.
So he told you when? He told you Wednesday or whatever.
I asked him what time, though. I could go through it right now and pull it up.
Yeah, he missed that part. He read that first part probably. So yeah,
okay, it happens. Oh, good. Because I want to make sure, because I'll be coming back from Minnesota, so I want to make sure. And plus, improv classes next Wednesday, so it's like, okay, I want to do whatever I can to make sure it works. If it's possible. So
absolutely.
Because I committed to it, and I want to stay truthful to that commitment for Jerry coming to the Midwest.
I know. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully the weather's going to be good.
I want to be around him when he talks to, some, like at a restaurant or something like that. And then I just want to look at the other person's face. Like, you're not from around here, are you?
Yeah. I think they'll notice.
Yeah. To be like, you're from Illinois, right?
Did you come over the border?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you come from somewhere else?
Yeah. What border did you come through?
And especially like get him on those words that really bring out that accent,
Yeah. I don't know which accent or which words are more his, but yeah, just love hearing Jerry talk. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. But anyhow, can you recall different times dealing with business owners that how would I say, when things weren't right and you gave them, if I see something wrong in a company or something, I like to bring it, to the owner or to the manager, but mostly the owner.
Right.
And I like giving value of how that viewpoint is and helping that, business. I've actually made great connections with owners because of that. And so he said, meeting at 6. Plan on meeting at 6, he said.
Okay. I don't know where, so we're going to have to talk backstage, logistics and all that. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I lived in Kansas for 12 years. Midwest is definitely way down. Yeah. And even on the East Coast, we could get more specific because obviously a Boston accent is going to be different than a Carolina accent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But bringing value to somebody who has a business, and knowing that, you're not expecting anything in return there, but, in all fairness, business owners should be mindful that if people bring value to them, at least be open-minded to see what this other person's doing. Right. And not be open-minded like, oh, I heard you and I'm not interested right now or whatever, but be mindful that how can you return it back for the fact of how they helped you in your business. Mm-hmm. And be genuine about that. And that's what's sad is sometimes we just don't. He goes, I speak in Shakespeare.
I speak.
Yes. You a little bit more, Jerry. And I think that I'm gonna have to go back and read Shakespeare again and feel very comfortable in that. Good. Oh, now I can understand Shakespeare a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, being a Puerto Rican accent, speaking Spanish, and trying to do Shakespeare sometimes, I did feel like I was thinking third language. So now that I've been talking to Jerry, maybe it'll just sink in now that I'm older.
Coming from a student of theater, no. Self-represented. Yeah, I've had plenty of experiences, some good, some bad. I think that I can speak to coaching. I've coached a couple people. A couple of them were only one time because I think that they wanted an outcome, but they didn't want to do the work to get it. And they wanted the Cliff Notes version, and it's like there is no Cliff Notes version. And the accumulated amount of education that they were getting at my disposal was well over $100,000 worth of education. And it's like, there's no way in a 4-hour window that I can do that. Right. Especially from a performance realm where it's your technique, it's your training, it's your repeated, in front of a microphone and rehearsing scripts and writing scripts. Right. That doesn't, I can tell you how to do that, but how do you get better at writing? You write more. Right. How do you get better in front of a camera? You get on camera more often. Right. So that was, hey, Charles, is that was huge for me from a standpoint. It's like, okay, to look at somebody's character, like the way that they respond to certain things. Is there a pattern? Were they a go-getter before this started, or is it like they want to be the same person, but they take on something that's going to push them forward? But are they ready for that push? Do they know it's going to be a push? Because if they're not willing to up their game, nothing's going to happen. They're not willing to give up something for something else to come into their life.
Right.
And I can't force anybody to do that. Can you roll your tongue? That was the hardest part.
Arroz.
Oof.
Arroz. Yeah.
When I do that, I just spit everywhere.
That's for rice, but it's arroz.
If I had rice in my mouth, I would just spit it everywhere if I was to do that. Yeah, I'm glad I got a mask on. It's in my mask. Yeah. But character. There's a lot of common things. I mean, if somebody wants something for free, they're usually vague. They're usually really not direct, right? They want to get out of the conversation as soon as possible if they're not fully committed. I think that the authentic, honest, and upfront, does this work for you? How can we make this happen? I think that the minute that a monetary is put on it, they see a value enough into asking about going deeper, but then there might be some embarrassment or whatever, where it's like, man, I can't afford that kind of money for that kind of coaching. Right. But just be honest and upfront about it. And I think that that's enough for people to just walk away from or ignore versus just having a conversation as far as how we could make this work, or let's put you on some kind of plan, not like a payment plan, but maybe in the next year. Right. Yeah. Where you could do this versus having it be a one size fits all. You either do it now or you don't. Well, That's not how people develop. Usually it's a little at a time, and then they want more. Then they want a little bit more. Right. So.
Did we acknowledge Coachman's in the house?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay. Just getting distracted with the little comments.
Yeah, he's one of the people I miss, on one of our mentors' lives every day. I missed him over the past couple of days. So playing some catch up. Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll see him tonight in class.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure
Did
he
you see his
will.
double danger that I took a picture of? Because he was on the screen twice.
I've
That was
been
funny.
out of the loop the past couple of days, so I haven't seen
Oh.
much. So, yeah,
Let's see.
yeah, correct. Definitely, if there's a will, there's a way, and it's like the bet. You know, if you found your people, why would you waste time not to go deeper just because there's a monetary thing in place? I mean, you can either look at it as an opportunity or not, but I think it's totally unreasonable to think that somebody's going to give away their expertise for free, you know? Oh, shoot, I can't join in much today. Going to get my lashes done.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, talking about, she knows probably about relationship capital very much. Hi, Michelle. Because as a photographer, you know, there's a lot of give and take. And at least here in Montana, there's a lot of people that network with photographers, including a lot of realtors and stuff. Look, what can I do for you here? And things like that, you know. And sometimes business people try to barter with each other. But even bartering, you get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And that's not, go ahead.
I think that honest and upfront is always the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like really having an honest conversation as far as, hey, if this goes somewhere, what would be reasonable to you or what would be fair here, right?
Right.
Especially
Right.
with with everything that's available, right? But it's like,
Right.
if you don't speak up, there's no way you can go back on somebody and saying, hey, I feel a little disrespected or a little bit used here.
Right.
And
Right.
I think unfortunately that happens through actually going through it once or twice, and then you never let it happen again.
Yeah, and I have dealt and I've seen, you know, people that I know in business too, as well as, you know, when I was doing my business, it's always like, you know, Lynn, we really love your donations to this raffle and stuff, because when we say we have a pleasure party basket, everybody wants that basket,
Right.
you know, kind of thing. It's like, how much can I give, you know? And I don't mind giving, but the point is that you know, you find a lot of people say, oh man, that person owes me a lot because of this. You know, it's like you said, there is a point where you need to realize that you can't just be given to every cause
No.
and not, you know,
Well,
it's a
it's
business
kind of like
return.
back in the days of, you know, when I was brutally honest is something people are not used to, but it totally works. I mean, because here's the thing, you're not getting emotionally invested in it. You're taking a stand for your business and what you can offer. And it's like, it's either give or take. And I'd rather have that be upfront, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, man, I don't like to use the scenario of dating, right? But like, just envision somebody that you may want to help, right?
Mhm.
It's like, would you want to waste anybody's time? Would they want, you know, would you appreciate if they wasted your time? No. But to be honest and upfront is better than, hey, I only take on so many nonprofits or only goodwill things I do every year. That's it.
Right.
I don't
Right.
do everybody because I have other stuff to do, and I get paid for my expertise, right? I
Right.
get paid for the outcomes I create, right?
Right.
And it's like, after those opportunities are used up, because here's the thing, the government is created in such a way that, like with the tax system, is that you're not in I only could speak for my industry, but you're not allowed to, you know, to write out a form to get reimbursement or to have that deducted off your taxes anymore. So if you're going to do an event or something like that and you're going to use your expertise, it better be for something that you're passionate about.
Right.
Like maybe your family suffered from an illness, or maybe you suffer from something and you want to give back, right? Or like my dad had a massive heart attack. I would do it for the American Heart Association, right? But one thing that works out very well is that, and here's the thing that you can really use, and I found this to work very well. If somebody only wants you for your professional expertise, what you get paid for, your living, that's one thing. But if you say, hey, yeah, I will be there for personally, like as a set of hands to fill bags or to help out with the race or whatever, if they don't want you a part of it for what you personally bring to the table, I would stay away from it.
Yeah.
Because they only want what you're professionally doing.
Right.
If it was labor, oh no, we don't need that. Okay. What I'm offering you is my personal time.
Right.
If that's not good enough, so you only want me because I shoot photography or something, it's like, I don't agree with that, right?
Right.
I mean, it's one thing if you want to do a freebie, It's another thing if you're like, oh, I don't know if they're going to like me anymore, or there are signs that may show up in terms of where it's more burden than it's worth. And don't believe for a second, leave that comment up there, Lynn. Don't believe for a second and fall into the trap of, well, you're going to be around a lot of people and we're going to have the TV.
Yeah, right.
Garbage.
Oh,
Garbage.
That's bullshit. Yeah.
Don't fall for that.
They're going to be, hey, come over here and meet Brian. He's the wedding planner, or this or that,
Because here's one for everybody. And I dare you to ask this if you have the balls to do it. It's like, when somebody says, it's like, oh, you're going to have lots of people and whatnot. I'm like, oh, okay. Can you guarantee me that they're going to take my card or call me? Well, no. Well, then what make...
Yeah. Well, there's some events, though, that I've done and stuff where they say, we're going to give you the mailing list. We're going to give you the list of everybody that registered, but again, those aren't warm people that want to hear from you.
Yeah, great. So you're going to give me a list of people that I'm just going to piss off,
yeah,
you're upset.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying, that's the old school way of,
Well, and then you turn, okay, so then just by that example, you turn into a person that wants to contribute to a community or cause, and then the next minute you turn into sleazy sales guy. Yeah, that's a great combination right there.
Oh, yeah, that'll build your reputation pretty darn fast.
Yeah. I got this list, now I'm hounding people to...
It's just like when some people message you in Messenger and they become annoying. It's the same thing. But yeah. In case
I have no agenda. And then after you become a friend, oh, hey, I got this business opportunity.
Yeah.
No, get out of here. Okay, so Shannon says gives people enough of a shocker to get them to pawn. Yeah, I mean, you have to put your stake in the ground, because if you don't do it, somebody else will. But then you can't go, in my opinion, you can't go back on them and say you wronged me. I wish I could stay. Well, Michelle, before you go, we're honored and grateful you were with us on your second beautifying type of thing.
Yes,
right?
We feel honored.
You had your feet, now your lashes. So thanks for being here.
We feel honored. So let's see here. I'm just going through these comments really quick. And
I think I missed a couple. Yeah.
No,
Shannon. Okay, Shannon said a few things.
Yeah, I think I put up their truth.
I love your show. It's real and raw. I love you. Yeah, absolutely right.
Thanks you.
Yeah. I mean, you have to stake your claim. Don't fall into the trap of like, hey, you're going to get the mailing list or whatever. It's like, okay, great. People aren't going to answer their phone or respond to your emails anyway because they didn't request your stuff.
Right. Well, it just, people forget this about marketing or being in business. They forget being the persons. Forget how to be a consumer. Right. Forget how is it when you are doing something? Does it annoy you? People act like you do? That might be a clue.
Yeah, like, it's like the deference of how would it be for you? Oh, I wouldn't like that either. Well, then don't do it to them.
Exactly. You should be able to empathize and realize and see the perception from their point of view and find a way that you can non-sleazy live with.
I mean, by the way, is anyone looking?
Now that's a selfish plug by our Charles.
As a matter of fact, I am. No,
and as a matter of fact, we approve this message.
Hey, Charles, just wait for me to move this piece of hair with all the gel in it back, because I don't want to be sleazy. You know what I mean? Okay, we're good. Okay. No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but no, seriously, he was just showing an example how somebody can come on and have the kahunas to do this.
Right.
And, granted, we love and know he's joking here, but no, seriously, he does sell a house. He's not in retirement or coming out of retirement. Just wanted to say that.
Charles is a great guy.
Yeah, because if he shares it on his page and people actually watch this, we made the plug for him. He's not in retirement.
No. Whenever Charles comes to mind, man, all I think about is rock and roll and the things you do with rock and roll music decades ago,
Yeah. So, it really is funny when you take the perspective of the businesses and businesses forgetting how it is to be a consumer, and, finding the solution. And their solution is just to spam the heck out of you with their stuff without trying to give value sometimes.
Yeah, instead of asking you like, hey, how can I help? Or even if I can be of help.
Right.
Let's start there. No, here's my crap.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for your stuff.
I
got stuff of my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So and especially when they say this and can't even say, hey, Brian, how are you doing? Yeah. And then you find out I just got out of the hospital or something. Maybe I shouldn't be asking you about this then, right? Like what I'm saying is just like when they go right for the jugular, like even when a friend requests or something, hey, I think what I do is good, beneficial, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're not trying to be my friend. Thank you for letting me know.
The problem with all of these scenarios is that it programs people to think that nobody cares or that there's not honest and authentic people out there. That's the biggest programming that it does.
Yeah.
Because every time it happens, it reinforces how we think. There's no authentic people. And when they do show up, they're not seen right away because that filter has been so rock solid. You know what I mean? Where it's like for somebody to actually go through all those steps of authenticity and to prove it, people are holding on to their wallet closer than ever, right? Because it's like, oh, here he goes. The predictable behavior of somebody that really doesn't care about me, but they want the fastest, quickest way to my wallet.
Put it this way. It's called, just like in acting, it's typecasting. When people see you with that script or industry or anything you're in, you're screwed. You're screwed because you're not showing who you are first. I'd rather wait till people say, what do you do? And then I might share it. But I'm not like, I'm more, what do you do? Kind of, and from what they talk about, see how I can help them. But, it's that.
I'm the type of person that it's like when somebody, I don't know, whenever it feels right, if I'm at a restaurant or something, it's like, now, do you really care about us or are you just saying that?
Yeah.
I'll say that sometimes depending on the situation. Like,
it's like I dated this guy right away. I found out he sold Amway and I'm like, oh, shit. I don't know how this is going to go. I will say, even though at his house he had Amway products and all that stuff, I love that he didn't try to try to sell me on this stuff, I mean, up to this day, 11 years later, we are good friends. And he still doesn't try to, he says he's trying to build his business. I'm like, oh, that's great. He's never tried that on me, It's like, oh, no.
And one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that high pressure and always like going against people's wishes. When people want to turn you off, if you had the basic understanding of why, you know what I mean? Instead of being like, oh, that person must be whatever, like if they get an unsubscribe notice or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. How are you being perceived? Do you ask that question? Once you find out who it is, do you ever reach out and say, hey, I noticed that you unsubscribed. Can I ask why so I can better this? They don't do that.
Yeah.
They look at you negative. They look at you whatever. And it's like, dude, if you were to get 30 emails from me, 3 a day over 10 days, would you want to be a part of this?
Yeah.
If they answer, I'd be shocked. But there again, if you reframe it with you in mind, it's like, hey, the same email 3 times a day.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
Right.
If you say that this is meant to help me, you can help me with one email in some from a sharing of the hearts with some content, not a sales proposition.
Well, the same thing goes with business owners that don't realize that they have, and if they back it up, if they have a list of people that get purged out, right? Why not go talk to a customer that's been your customer and see how you can help them, right, solution-wise, whatever. I mean, that right there is your market research. And, it's just like good example, like cable companies that jack you up with the prices, and then you leave and then they want you back. It's like, why do you got to say you're going to leave for them to give you a good deal, right? The point is that people don't get rewarded for being a monthly subscriber. And then nobody shows them appreciation I think that's really wrong, because you're putting out to the universe that as a former customer, that person could say, "Oh, I'm Brian's customer. I'm not happy with it. Don't do it." Whereas if I went to Brian and say, "Brian, is there anything I could do? Is there any negative?" I would want to know if Brian has negative. People don't be proactive. Keep former customers are referrals, people. It's the word of mouth. And that's where a lot of business owners forget. People do capital relationship. People feel like, you know what, I canceled and they haven't even offered me a deal to come back. And they feel like capital relationship was not equal there.
It blows my doors off that people use each other, like people that are not going to buy from them anyways, like colleagues, right?
Mm-hmm.
They share ideas with colleagues in terms of, hey, what do you think about my new business card? Or how should I handle this situation? Oh, I don't know. Why don't you go to the people that why don't you go to previous customers and ask them? Maybe I'm completely wrong, but another business owner is not going to give you some insight versus somebody that already holds you in high regards.
Right.
It blows my doors off that it's like the answer is always and will be in the goal of the customer.
Absolutely.
Their words, their thoughts, their reviews will always give you more understanding than you could ever imagine. Now,
priceless.
Do you know them well enough to want to ask for it? And with whatever they say, good or bad, you're going to be okay with it.
Right. Or make it okay and appreciate that customer. And that's where, capital relationship and business and now would be balanced out. But yeah, Charles, you're right on this. Yeah. There are specific companies like that.
Yeah.
But
it just blows my doors off where it's like, with being in advertising, marketing, and psychology school, for my triple major, it's like, hey, I was a part of back when there was a certain vehicle that came out. I was actually in school at the time where we were a part of a national campaign, and there was schools from all over the country. And we put our team together, and it was a whole project is to create a research campaign for this product. And it was a car. Okay. And whoever won would go to nationals and they would pitch it in front of the actual manufacturer. And so I remember being a part of it, and it was like, we're sitting in a focus group about colors, what options the vehicle should have. And given our demo and psycho, it's like, once we identified who those people were, we didn't guess. We went out to the marketplace and brought in those people that met those specifications to ask them, because that's how we got the information. So could we have asked another manufacturer, hey, what do you guys think of this product? What? That doesn't make any sense. I'm concerned about Brian and all of the doors he's losing. I don't know what he's referring to. I don't know what he's referring to.
I'm sure he'll elaborate.
Yeah, please elaborate, Charles. So it's just one of those things that I've never believed in asking another person for something. Like people that can't do business with you, or like, I don't know, a colleague, right? They want to serve other people. I find no value in asking, like, I don't know, hey, here's a marketing idea. What do you think? Well, they're going to use their own brain. Yeah. But their audience may not be the same as yours. So right. I use my customers as my sounding board, and I feel that that's the best way. Doors be blown on. Well, yeah. I have that effect on doors. It's not because I'm that tall, but anyway.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I don't get me wrong, because it's easier. Good afternoon. Hey, Scott. There's lip lock. It's much easier to ask another colleague, because you don't have to. And if you know your customers, in my opinion, as well as you do, and you're willing to ask them, I mean, it's like, are they customers? Are they more like family, right? Have you got to know each other on a close level, right? I think that there's a distinction there. But it's like, why would you rave about all the results you've got from them and how successful you are if you can't use any of their minds or their input?
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of loss on the table without trying to take constructive criticism in your business to make it better. And and the fact that I think there's a capital relationship as far as knowing that that customer invested in you. You owe it to
Absolutely.
them. You owe it to them to make sure that whatever feedback they give, that you go above and beyond, and then reward them, appreciate them. You will have somebody that will be even a long time supporter. I mean, like, people step on their toes because they don't do this. They don't realize, try to go so about soliciting new people and don't give a shit about former customers. I think that's a huge problem with corporations and businesses, so bad that if they would look at that and build those relationships up again and build the relationship capital, I think so many companies would be so much better.
Well, I mean, because
Instead of thinking the customer is always the one that's the problem and screw them and whatever.
Well, it's based on some systemization of whatever business model they have.
Yeah.
Right. That's too much work. I got to make 200 dials today. Right.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, my business is not like that. Yours is not like that, where it's based on that kind of volume. But,
no.
And it's like, okay, anybody with a pulse and a credit card is not a good business model, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, even if it doesn't matter if you're in a service thing,
Right.
Just getting in contact, looking at your contact database before, like, I know you reach out with birthdays and anniversaries and just, hi, how you doing, and visiting with people. Those are important things that people don't do neither. Correct. Without realizing the value of it. Because if you're forefront in the mind of somebody, of you being a person, you're constantly a reminder that when they're talking to somebody and somebody says, oh, my daughter's getting engaged. Oh, she is. Let me know. I do know somebody that she might want to talk to.
Right. And
it's just not because they heard you lecturing about that particular thing you do. Mm-hmm. It's just being of mind, and people, so I think that's a lost part.
I love it when, the longest couple that I maintain relationship with is over 25 years. And
That's
it's
awesome.
like, have they sent me any? Shannon says, okay, what does she say? Shannon says, see, this is usually not what you were told. Thank you for speaking out. Yeah. I mean,
you're welcome.
But it's like, here's the thing. A couple of mine, I was a part of their wedding 25 years ago. It is easier to give birth than it is to raise the dead.
Well, sometimes you can raise the dead, but if you're in a marketing company or something and you beat people over the stick, well, I guess you can't raise them. I guess you got to say next. Mm-hmm. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
But it's, people forget that they put the brand of what they're doing constantly in front of their human being relationship. Absolutely. With somebody. You've ruined the relationship for having that product or company that's going to come through, leave, or whatever, and you're never seen as a person because obviously you have forgotten to be a human being.
And for anybody that owns their own company or has their own control of their business, it's like there is nobody restricting what you can and can't do, how you can serve your couples or how you serve your customers, right?
Right.
Obviously, if you work for somebody, there's some rules of the company, but how you sell, like in Charles' case, how you sell real estate or how you engage customers or whatever you do, is all within your realm,
right?
And it's like too many people, use a little bit of this and a little bit of that and work for other people instead of creating your own. Now, I know that you have to be willing to take a stand for, here's how I want to be served. So I'm going to do this for the people I serve. You really have to put a stake in the ground because there's going to be plenty of people out there that will not put a stake in the ground.
Yeah.
They're going to conform to another business model when it's like, I don't like that approach. I want to be very high touch, highly personalized here. Well, how do you do that? Create it. You discover it. You know how you feel inside of your heart when you're given that kind of service, when you're given that kind of customer experience. Okay. Right. Now, is there going to be bumps in the road? Will you make mistakes? Of course you will. But here's the deal. When you're doing it, when you're creating something on your own, inside of your heart, you're doing it. Nobody's going to copy it because it's your own, right? And it's like they may not understand it, but one thing, like Maya Angelou said, they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Never forget how you made them feel.
Absolutely.
You
I
know?
mean, I've seen a lot of people's relationships ruined because they have forgotten to just be human with that person. And I tell people, make sure you call people. What customers are the boss to make
Yep.
your
Yep.
paycheck.
Yep.
Yep. But you know, I think any business and any independent business owner can make their customers be friends, that personal level of friendship,
Yeah.
you know, because that shows appreciation, not just the mighty dollar in between you, but
I,
just the
I,
appreciation.
I think, Dennis, for me, I would tweak that a little bit. The right customer, right?
Yeah.
Because just because somebody has money
Right.
doesn't, because in my opinion, now obviously every industry is going to be different, but it should be a collaboration. You
Right.
have the expertise, they have the need, you have solutions that solve their problems, right?
Right.
That should be a delicate volley, right? But you do it in your own way. You do it for your own reasons, whatever system or whatever you created, but it has to be the right customer, because every industry has people that'll just take somebody's money and then they wonder why their pipeline is always empty.
Yeah.
Is because there's no, it's just another sale and that's it.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why they're still back at zero. It's like they're running in circles.
Yeah. And by the way, Dennis, I did get your package. It was in my mailbox. I didn't realize that. So thank you. I haven't opened it up yet. It's just a small box. So thank you. And yours is at your P.O. box, I guess, Brian.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Well, I already told them that I don't eat hot food or whatever. So it's going to go to my girlfriend because she loves hot food. So
yeah. He said it wasn't so much hot, but it just brings spice to the flavor or something.
I need a little spice in my life. Look at my shirt. Come on now.
Yeah. You wear your spice.
Yeah. I'm wearing my spice.
Yeah.
So thank you, Dennis. Thank you for your generous heart in sending us stuff. So.
Absolutely. So yeah. So it's a great perspective on business, and it used to be marketing used to be a simple thing as far as people having loyalty and stuff, but what happens is there's just so much of all these different businesses out there that there's people still trying to teach people how to sell old school. That doesn't work anymore.
Right. The customer is not always, absolutely. And I think, everybody's a little bit different, but I also think that there's a phrase that I see show up more and more and more, and to everybody, it's going to be a little bit different of their perception of it. But when a customer feels like they're heard, right?
Mm-hmm.
When there's no agenda and you just hear them, right? It might be a little weird at first, right? But there's no voodoo magic or witchcraft going on. But when they feel like they're heard, right? Because they may not be upset. It's just that they have nobody else to talk to.
Yeah.
Well,
like I said, when I usually call somebody, I had to deal with this morning. I was like apologetic, saying, look, I can't believe you guys are putting me through this again. I just went through this. And I apologized to him. He's like, no. He goes, a lot of people are going through the same thing, the same situation. I said, but I want to apologize because me being upset has nothing to do with you right now. And I appreciate you being here, taking my call. Mm-hmm. Super, super nice, diffusing, but he was willing to listen with what he knew was wrong with the system. So, I appreciate that, and kudos to him.
Yep. There's so much I've learned, but only because I didn't walk away, and kept trying and learning. And it's like what happens, and Shannon, I'm glad you said it, because it sparked an idea that it's like everything is all great until there's something that needs to be overcome, until there's an upset. And the worst thing you can do is walk away, because that like, okay, I've had enough. The money was good until there was a problem, right? No.
Yeah.
That's like somebody that gets the meals wrong at a restaurant and all they do is walk away and they don't want to help you make it right.
Yeah. And that's sad commentary. I know you had that problem once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wrote about it. I was in the back of the vehicle writing about it. I had an article doing. I'm like, well, write about this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, is that it goes back to them being heard. It amazes me. They will tell you how this will make it right.
Yeah. Well, I love is like you've got even like TripAdvisor, where customers can review places, and then the business or establishment can rebuttal and say, well, hey, let's make it right. You see, I love that public accountability, because it has made some establishment be more mindful of
Yep.
the repercussions of not being accountable. Like that company or that cashier or that waitress was never told, look, if there's a problem, let us know, because we have a bad review. And then when people have had a bad review and they realize that it's impacting their business, it has made them accountable to make sure that they fix that problem so that it doesn't hinder their business later.
Yep.
So again, because they're, and this is before COVID, so now I don't really know where things stand. But
there's a couple best practices I just want to share with everybody, and so hopefully they can help all of you. The +1 philosophy, okay? Under any circumstances, anybody you work with, for any reason, like if my girlfriend's family, her uncle and aunt are purchasing an actual resort, okay, or they're going partners in a resort, and I was talking to her aunts, so her uncle or uncle-in-law, right? And I'm telling them about the +1 philosophy, that if anybody has to stand in line for checking in over 10 minutes, they get something free, automatic, right? If, like, let's say people go boating or whatever in the boat, there's some problems with it, or, it runs out of gas or it doesn't go well, the +1, right? Is that we acknowledge that there's a problem, but we're not going to fester on it. We're going to take ownership of it. Plus we're going to make it better. Hey, here's a $15 gift card for the restaurant across the street. Right.
well,
you are putting out fires before they happen. How much does that happen in the world anymore? Right. Instead of, oh my God, there's a problem. It's going to take 37 days and 8 emails to resolve a problem. And they want you to give up because they don't want to give back any money. They don't want to take ownership of something that can be done in 3 seconds before feelings get involved into it.
Right.
Once feelings get involved, then it's all done with.
Yeah. It's like the ABC method, acknowledge it, be kind and be receptive, but then also feel it, be compassionate, feel where you can relate, say, oh my gosh, Brian, I wouldn't like that. Empathize with them, empathize, say, I wouldn't have liked that happening neither. And then asking, how can we make this right?
Yeah.
Asking that question, you need to realize that you need to hear, and then you have to compromise with what he, and that'll make a big difference in your business.
Well, let me give you another example. Is that there's a bigger company that a lot of people buy stuff from. I'm just going to say that. And early on, when they had download services, like where people would download movies and games or whatever, is that back behind the scenes, something that we don't see as consumers, they know when a movie's being downloaded, right? But they also know if there might be any bumps in the stream based on the bandwidth, right?
Yep.
And so what happens is, and I've witnessed this, and it's been many years because everything is all over now, streaming, and internet speeds have gone up, is that if they sensed that there was a ripple in the download, whether or not there was, they would send you an email probably before you even watched it, right? That, hey, based on their system and technology, that there might have been a problem with your download. Your download is free, and I believe that there was some other little thing, like your next download is half off or free.
Right.
They did that before anything. Now, this is a bigger company, of course, but at the same time, it just goes to show is that, wow, we're taking ownership of something that you might not have even noticed.
Absolutely.
That right there will serve people well.
Transparency.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, they're going to shake their head, like as a consumer, they're going to shake their head to be like, holy crap, like what just happened here?
Yeah, they empathized with them and said, hey, we know how that could be, and we're sorry for that.
In the face of imperfections, absolutely. I mean, actually, let's just bring it down to square one. If you have as one of our mentors talks about, the difference between satisfactory and loyal, right? Satisfactory means people will go anywhere, right? They just need to fill a void. They need to have dinner, right? Loyalty means they go there at least once a week, or that's the spot that they go to, right? They spend more money. They bring important people to the, in their lives there, and they talk about it. They talk about it to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Satisfactory means your needs are met. Loyal is a place you can't live without.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm glad you wrapped that up. So
my face is a little red.
no,
I'm on
no.
fire today.
Yeah, no, I love talking about business and how, business needs, people start a business because they find a solution to a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're so hepped on being such about the solution. They're too cocky to realize, can you be compassionate about the problem?
Right.
and how we're mostly, we are dedicated to fix whatever the situation is, and we take pride and care and concern with that, and if people did that and without excuses, I mean, it's just really different.
I mean, you give me a business owner or somebody that sells spicy all over. Absolutely, Charles. You know me well.
That's what I said.
Lynn is rubbing off on me, and we're many miles apart. So what I will say is that it blows my doors off that anybody in sales, just in general, not specific, is that they'll do anything to get the business, but then as soon as they get the business, they may or may not commit to fulfilling upon any of it.
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything to disrupt that business coming in, and they're going to say what they have to do, jump as high as they have to, but then in the back of their mind, they're not committing to anything.
Yeah.
Or the likelihood they won't commit to anything because it's like, okay, I got another one. Okay, what's next?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ridiculous. That is not a viable business. That is a viable business method, but it isn't going to work so well.
No, that's why even when I've helped some people with marketing their business or this or that, they've said, thank you, Ray. They've said, no, my business is doing really good. I don't need no marketing tips right now. I don't need this, and that. Okay. I go, okay. I said, but don't call me when you have a downtime, because it's going to take a while to bring that downtime back up. Wow. People forget the momentum, a stream of keeping marketing flowing,
without getting into hunter farmer kind of, I'm not a fan of that philosophy, but what I do believe to be true is that aka ginger spice, everything dies. Okay. is that you always have to be planting seeds, and I don't want to make this an agricultural thing, right?
No.
But you always got to be planting seeds, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Because as they say in business, the things that you do right now, depending on your business, of course,
that's right,
will manifest and come to fruition sometime 60 to 90 days from now. Yeah. It's not going to be immediate.
Yeah. You should put down a word. Oh, snap, ginger snap, or ginger spice.
Give me some chai latte. Anyhow, I think we're coming to an end here with Cheryl tomorrow. So.
And we're going to have Cheryl Eisenhower tomorrow, whose work with Zig Ziglar.
Man, she's
very wise.
Ziglar certified coach.
Yes, certified. She is very wise and knowledgeable, and I'm looking forward to getting her spin on things and talking. That's going to be exciting.
She's author of 6 or 7 books, just like her husband. I think they got 13 between them. So, I believe that she, on one of their broadcasts recently, that she has a couple of other ones, that she's been thinking of doing or something.
Yeah, she's working on. Nice. Absolutely. So we'll have to ask her about that.
Well, she told us, she goes, we better come ready. So I think we'll be up for the challenge tomorrow.
I hope so. So any closing remarks you'd like to make, Brian?
Man, I think I've really said it. I've really said a bunch. Just don't be fake. Live your truth. Show people an experience, a customer experience they've never seen before. Because when you do that, little by little, customer by customer, it'll be the example. It'll be the standard. Don't settle for a method, that's really not you. It's okay to use other methods, but fully make it your own, right? My how I serve my customers was bits and pieces of other things, but also though, like, how do I want to be served?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's, if you're not going against company policy, if you work for somebody or whatever, that's number one. but that doesn't replace you can't treat people the way you'd want to be treated or do, like, if you were to write down, how would I want to be served? Doesn't matter what it is. There's going to be patterns, regardless if it's a product or a service, right? Well, then how do you want to give people the red carpet treatment if that's what you're going for, right? Because it's more about the thinking of it than the doing, but it starts with up here and then goes out. But then you have to be willing to be the minority for people to challenge you, like, oh, I'd never do that amount of work. Why do you care so much? I've heard all these things over the years. From Wisconsin, we make everything cheesy. Ryan, this is the curd stuff. Oh my God. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, Charles, just so you know, I usually don't put the word cheesy anything close to my name. Okay. No.
No cheesy for Brian.
No. I might consume cheese, but I'm not cheesy. Okay.
There's a distinction there.
And then Charles, just so you know, like there's a visual that created once that popped up on the screen, is that when you mix a chai latte with cheese or cheese curds, it might not be the best combination.
Oh man! On that note, here,
how about you? What before we go? I know we're already past time, but what'd you get out of today?
Well, I want to remind people that if you have a relationship capital with a business or a service, don't be afraid to. I wouldn't say call in the tip, but I would be acknowledge, say, hey, Brian, I've sent, a lot of wedding people to you. I've referred people to you. Have they worked out? I'm glad that I could be a service to you. Mm-hmm. And let them be acknowledged of who you are, and let them know you appreciate the service they've given to people, because it goes the other way around, that people need to realize or remember who has given them service through the pipe. Mm-hmm. And you'd be surprised, because when people realize that you're consistent and they know you exist, businesses love to reward that spontaneously too.
Yep.
And you'll be rewarded in many ways. We really got to go. We will see you tomorrow, which is Anything Goes Friday, our improv, and I'm excited about that. So we will chat.
See you tomorrow. Sharon Eisenhower, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Yes. Bye.